My best friend's laughter used to be my safe place, but now it's the sound of my world collapsing. I stood in the hospital room, staring at the baby in her arms, and felt my heart shatter like glass under a hammer. The DNA test results trembled in my hand, screaming a truth I couldn't unhear. This child wasn't mine, not biologically, not in any way. I'm Lily, and this is the story of how trust turned to ash. 5 years ago, my husband Ethan and I learned I couldn't carry a child. The doctors were kind but blunt. My body would never cradle life. Ethan held my hand through every appointment, his warm brown eyes promising we'd find a way. We decided on surrogacy, and I knew exactly who to ask Sarah, my best friend since college, the woman who'd been my rock through every storm. She was single, fiercely independent, and had a heart big enough to love the world, or so I thought. Sarah agreed to be our surrogate, and I was overjoyed. We'd pay her generously $50,000 enough to clear her debts and start fresh. She moved into our guest house, and we planned everything meticulously, the clinic visits, the embryo transfer, the diet to keep her healthy. Ethan and I were a team, and Sarah was our miracle. I'd spend evenings with her, laughing over old memories, dreaming about the child who'd call me mom. Ethan was quieter, but I chalked it up to stress. He'd always been the steady one, the man who'd choose me over anything. The first crack appeared 6 months in. Sarah started acting strange, distant, almost secretive. She'd dodge my questions about doctor visits, saying, "Oh, everything's fine. Lily, don't worry." I'd catch her and Ethan exchanging glances, quick and fleeting, like they shared a secret I wasn't part of. I brushed it off as paranoia, pregnancy hormones, I told myself, stress, anything but the truth. Then came the night I found them. I'd come home early from a work trip, eager to surprise Sarah with her favorite takeout. The house was dark, except for a soft glow from the guest house. I crept closer, my heart pounding for reasons I couldn't name. Through the window, I saw them, Ethan and Sarah, tangled in each other's arms, their laughter low and intimate. My stomach churned. I wanted to scream, to break the glass, but I stood frozen, watching my life unravel. I confronted Ethan that night. He swore it was a one-time mistake, a moment of weakness. It didn't mean anything. "Lily," he pleaded, tears in his eyes. "We're still having our baby. Sarah's just helping us." I wanted to believe him. I needed to. So I swallowed my pain and stayed silent, for the sake of the child I thought was ours. Sarah gave birth 3 months later, a beautiful boy with Ethan's eyes. We named him Noah. I held him, feeling a love so fierce it drowned out the doubts. But something nagged at me, his features, his smile, the way Sarah looked at him like he was hers. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, so I ordered a DNA test, telling myself it was just to quiet my fears. The results came on a Tuesday. Noah wasn't ours, not mine, not even from the embryo we'd created. He was Sarah's and Ethan's, conceived the old-fashioned way. My best friend and my husband had betrayed me in the deepest way possible, and the child I'd dreamed of was a lie. I confronted Sarah first. She sat across from me in our living room, cradling Noah, her face calm as if she'd done nothing wrong. "Lily, you wanted a baby, and I gave you one," she said, her voice cold. "Does it matter how it happened?" I stared at her, the woman I'd trusted with my dreams, and felt a rage I didn't know I could feel. "You slept with my husband," I whispered. "You stole my life." She shrugged, unapologetic. "You paid me to give you a child." I did. Ethan was worse. He collapsed into sobs, begging forgiveness, saying he loved me but got caught up in the moment. Caught up. As if his betrayal was a casual misstep, not a knife through my heart. I wanted to hate him, to hate them both. But love is a stubborn thing. It clings even when it's broken. I kicked Sarah out that day. She took Noah, claiming he was hers by blood. Ethan stayed, but our home felt like a graveyard. Every night, I'd lie awake, wondering how I'd missed the signs. Had Sarah always wanted Ethan? Had he ever loved me the way I loved him? The questions gnawed at me, But worse was the emptiness where Noah's laughter used to be. I could have walked away, started over, but something kept me rooted. Maybe it was the love I still felt for Ethan, buried under the pain. Maybe it was the memory of Noah's tiny hand in mine. I decided to fight not for revenge, but for redemption. I called a lawyer, not to sue, but to understand my rights. The surrogacy contract was airtight, but it assumed good faith. Sarah had violated that, but proving it would be a battle. I met Sarah one last time, at a coffee shop, Noah asleep in his stroller. I didn't yell or cry. I just asked, why, for the first time, her mask slipped. She told me she'd always envied me my marriage, my stability, my life. I wanted something of my own, she said, her voice breaking. Ethan was easy. It wasn't an apology, but it was the closest I'd get. I looked at Noah, my heart aching, and realized I didn't want to fight for him in court. He deserved a mother who could love him without resentment, and I wasn't sure I could be that yet. Ethan and I went to therapy. It was brutal hours of tearing open wounds, facing truths we'd both avoided. He admitted he'd felt trapped by my desperation for a child, that Sarah's carefree energy had been an escape. I admitted I'd ignored his distance, too focused on my dream of a family. We didn't fix everything, but we started rebuilding, brick by painful brick. I forgave him, not because he deserved it, but because I needed to free myself from the hate. Months later, I got a letter from Sarah. She'd moved across the country, raising Noah on her own. She didn't ask for forgiveness, but she sent a photo of him, smiling in a park. I cried, not for what I'd lost, but for what I'd learned. Love isn't ownership. It's letting go, even when it hurts. I tucked the photo away, a reminder of the boy who'd briefly been mine. Now Ethan and I are trying again, not for a child, but for us. We're adopting not to replace Noah, but to build something new. The scars remain, but they're part of our story, not the end of it. I've learned that trust can be rebuilt, not as it was, but stronger, forged in honesty and pain. Sarah's betrayal taught me that love is fragile, but it's also resilient. It bends, it breaks, but it can grow back if you let it. What do you think? Was I right to forgive, to let Noah go, or should I have fought harder? For him, for justice. Share your thoughts. I want to know where you stand on what's right and what's wrong.